Good morning, children. We learned about soil erosion. We saw that how our soil is getting spoiled and destroyed by natural process, that is wind and water. So can we stop wind and water? Obviously we cannot, because that is a natural process. But we can conserve the soil. How? We will learn in this video. Children, did you know that to form a layer of a soil, to form a 1 centimeter thick layer of a soil, it takes hundred of years to form a proper layer of soil. But do you know one thing? It takes very few years for the soil to get eroded. So can you see the difference? It takes so many years for the formation of a soil, and it takes very few years for the erosion of the soil. So my dear children, it is our responsibility, it is our duty that we must protect our soil from erosion. Isn't it? हमें हमारी धरती माता की रक्षा करनी चाहिए. So, the protection of soil against the erosion is known as soil conservation. Okay, so by soil conservation, we can protect our soil. So, children, let's listen. There are many different methods of soil conservation, isn't it? The first one is afforestation. If you remember, what is deforestation? The cutting down of trees from the forest and clearing the forest from trees and plants and grass is known as deforestation, which we discussed in the previous video. So today let's learn afforestation. Afforestation is just the opposite of deforestation. Planting more and more trees is known as afforestation. So, afforestation is a very effective and powerful method to stop the soil erosion, especially in those mountain areas, hilly areas where the flow of water can slow down if we will grow so many big plants, trees, and if we will cover the entire place with grasses, then the water will not take the soil along with it, and our soil will be saved and there will be no erosion. Another method is soil cover. What do you mean by soil cover? Means we have to cover the soil. But how we will cover the soil? We can cover the soil with so many grasses. If we will plant grasses or do any dry vegetation, then our soil will be covered. But how can we do this? Children, once in a crop field, once the crop is harvested, once the crops are plucked, once the crops are removed, they are taken out by the farmers. Then after harvesting, after taking out the harvested crops, the entire field becomes bare. No plants, no crops, nothing is there. Only soil is left. At that time, before sowing the next crop, instead of keeping the soil bare, it can be the farmers can grow grass, or they can cover the land with small grass or doing any dry vegetation, so that wind and water will not affect the bare land. The land will not be bare, it will be covered with grasses. In this way, we can cover our soil, isn't it? How we cover our body with dresses, how we cover our vehicle with the cover. So, in that way, we can cover the soil with doing dry vegetation or by growing grasses. Another method is shelter belts. What do you mean by shelter belts? Shelter belts means we have to protect our soil by growing hedges. What is hedges? Hedges means by doing a fence or by making a boundary consisting of small trees or plants in a row manner or in a colony manner, in a small line manner, so that in a boundary type with fence, so that the speed of the wind will be reduced, and that shelter belts by growing hedges or trees along the edge of the farmland, along the edge of the crop field or any kind of land where the plants need to be, where the soil needs to be protected. So growing the small trees along the edges will reduce the stop speed of the wind. As wind breakers, it will work as wind breakers. It will not allow the wind to enter, and the speed of the wind will be reduced, and the soil will not be affected. So this is shelter belts, means to protect the soil as a shelter. Another one is your terrace farming. What is terrace farming? Terrace farming is mostly done near the hilly places. Why? Because, as you know, soil erosion by water is very dangerous, as water flows down from the hills to the slopes, and it carries so many soil along with it, and it changes its course, leading to flood. So that's why terrace farming is done along the slopes of the hills. It is done by cutting the steps into small steps in the slopes. The slopes have been designed in such a manner that the steps are done in a that the steps are cutting done in that manner. Okay, and once that small steps are done, that cutting is done, so that the speed of the water will be reduced, as it will be coming one after the another, as the flow of water will be crossing so many steps. So definitely automatically the speed of the water will be reduced, and the soil erosion will not be done. Okay, the soil erosion from one step to is deposited on the next step. So that is why the soil erosion will be stopped, it will be reduced in the step farming, in the terrace farming. It is also known as step farming because it has been done in such a manner that the slopes are cut in steps, so that the flow of water will be reduced, and as the flow of water will be stopped, it will be reduced, it will not carry away the soil along with it. Another one method to stop soil erosion is building embankments. Children, what do you mean by embankments? Embankments means to build a strong wall which is either made up of soil and rocks, big strong rocks or stones. And these strong embankments of rocks and soil are also called as bunds. BUNDS, bunds. So, by building these strong embankments along the river bank, near the river bank, then the river will not flow, the flow of river will be stopped, and if the flow of river will be stopped, then automatically the soil will not be eroded. So, by building high burns, strong burns can also prevent the soil erosion, and it can also prevent the flooding, as the river will not change its path, as the river will not flow. So in the same time, two things can be stopped. First thing, the soil cannot be eroded, soil erosion will be stopped, and another thing, the river will not come to the land, and there will be no flood. At least to some extent the flood will be reduced. So my dear children, I told you this is a very interesting chapter. You learned so many things again. You enjoyed everything, every video. So it is our duty that we have to protect the soil. Okay? Because I told you, हमें धरती माता की रक्षा करनी है, हमें हमारी देश की मिट्टी की रक्षा करनी है. So for that, it's our duty to plant more and more trees so that the soil erosion will not be affected, the erosion will not happen in our place. So we can, out of all these methods, at least we can do afforestation, that is, we can plant more and more trees. Other methods also we can follow if we can. Okay, but we have to prevent soil erosion anyhow, because we cannot leave our soil eroded. Soil is very important for us. It is the home for many animals. So, here we come to the end of this chapter. Children, I know that you might have completed all your previous question answers, exercise questions of all the chapters. Today, I will be sharing with you this chapter exercise questions, everything, multiple choice, fill in the blanks, true, false, question answers, everything you have to write question hyphen answer. It is very simple. You all have written previously. I hope no confusion. Be good children. Watch my video, read the book and complete your exercise. Thank you children.